I'm challenging myself to another low-buy year. If you're not familiar with what a low-buy year is, it's a challenge to cut back on any unnecessary spendings from your budget. You can make your own rules depending on your values and lifestyle, but the whole purpose is to make more conscious and mindful decisions whenever you choose to buy something. What I learned from doing the challenge last year is that my overarching why has to be crystal clear. Ultimately, it's not about the money I'm going to save, nor is it about testing my willpower, but the bigger purpose is to align my spending habits with my values of living a simple and mindful lifestyle. My challenge last year didn't exactly turn out as I had hoped, but I still made huge strides. I learned a lot about myself, my consumption habits, and how I could make this challenge work for me instead of the other way around. So this is my attempt to try again with all the lessons I've learned. Here is how I'm challenging myself this year. After doing my first low-buy year, I knew that I didn't want to go back to my old spending habits, so I wanted to do it again. But I knew that I had to adjust the rules just a little bit. Instead of just thinking about what I was going to cut from my budget, I actually wanted to focus on how I was going to redirect that money towards the things that were important to me. But before we jump into the video, if you're also looking to be more mindful with your spending this year, I hope that you will join this challenge with me, and you can follow along my journey by subscribing to this channel. Also, I will be sharing more frequent updates on my personal channel, sophie.malamalife, so please feel free to join there as well. First, let's talk about my intentions for doing this challenge. Last year, my overall goal was to simplify my life, and I also had a financial goal of saving up at least $15,000 and also paying off our $35,000 home equity line of credit. But for this year, I decided that it's no longer going to be about meeting a specific goal, but it's more about reinventing my identity. And what I mean by that is that I want to change the parts of myself and my habits that are no longer serving me. Asking myself, what kind of person do I want to be? And does my spendings truly align with that new identity? I told myself I no longer want to be someone who spends their free time browsing the web for clothes, who constantly thinks about what to buy next, who depends on retail therapy to boost mood, pass time, or just relieve stress. Instead, I want to be that person who invests in their wellness, in their education, their fitness, and their overall well-being. This is going to be my biggest motivation. I actually went through my credit card statement, and for each transaction, I asked myself if it was either hurting me or helping me in becoming this new identity. And this might sound a little bit over the top, but it actually gave me a lot of clarity on what I wanted to spend my money on and what I didn't want to spend my money on. Identity plays a massive part in how we live, what we do, and even how we spend our money. So this year, my whole motivation for doing this challenge is to let go of my past bad habits and to take a step closer to the person that I truly want to become, and finally using my money to help me get there. So let me tell you what my rules are for this low-buy year. First, I'm creating a budget for specific things. For example, I'm giving myself a $300 budget for new clothing. And honestly, I don't need any new clothes, but I just want to give myself some room for flexibility just in case. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from last year's challenge. So just in case my weight fluctuates or my lifestyle changes, or I come across a brand that I really want to work with. Also, I'm creating a budget for dining out and also getting takeout. Eating out with friends and family, that's fine because it's a rare thing anyways. If it's just me and my husband, I really want to limit ourselves to just dining out once a week. Use what I have. It seems like there's so many things that we can buy now for self-care, fancy lotions, cute journals, yoga accessories, face massaging tools. You guys know how much I prioritize self-care, but I also don't think that it has to be expensive. I really feel the most benefit when I get a good night's rest, or if I go for a walk out in nature, if I practice yoga, and just being consistent with these things. This is not just with self-care items, but also with food. Instead of going to the grocery store every single time I feel like I'm missing something, I want to look in my fridge and in my pantry to first check if I have any leftover ingredients and try to use up everything that I already have. Only replace empty products, and this is regarding my beauty items and my toiletries. I went a little bit overboard with sheet masks last year, and I feel like it was really wasteful. I only saw immediate results and not long-lasting results, so I am going back to just my tried and true products and only replacing completely empty bottles. I will be implementing some no buys this year, and this is for unhealthy snacks and sweets in general. I really don't even have a sweet tooth, but if there's chocolate, candy, or dessert around the house, I know that I'm gonna eat it. So I'm really gonna be mindful of what I buy this year and what I have around the house. Sometimes I really do wanna end my meals with something sweet, and in that case, I can order myself a dessert if I'm dining out. But at home, I can reach for a fruit or end my meals with a cup of tea. Also, no buy year for home decor, plants, little knickknacks, kitchen tools, etc. I actually haven't bought anything for my home in a very long time because I have everything I need. So I want to keep it that way. Rule number 5 is to keep a wish list. And this really worked well for me last year, so I want to keep it going. Especially if it's a bigger purchase, I want to wait longer before I buy it, and this will help me to avoid some impulse purchases. Rule number 6 is to always buy secondhand first, and this is a new habit that I developed in the last year. If I need to buy something, I'm always going to be looking first on Craigslist, Marketplace, and for clothing on Poshmark. And I noticed that a lot of brands now have like a pre-loved option where you can shop secondhand, which I think I will be taking advantage of. Honestly, there's so many things and products out there already that I really don't feel the need to buy something brand new at full price. So this is going to help me save a lot of money as well. Last but not least, I'm allowing myself for investments. And this is financial investments and also investment in my happiness. Like I said, this year I really wanted to redirect how I was going to spend my money, and there are a couple of things that I really want to invest in. And the first thing is I want to hire a tutor to help me with my Portuguese. I also want to continue to do therapy, and I recently got a gym membership to work on my weight training. A lot of these things felt out of reach for me in the past, but somehow I was able to justify spending hundreds of dollars on a piece of clothing item. So this year is really about changing that mindset, shifting the priorities towards prioritizing my wellness and my happiness. So now that you know my rules, here is how I'm planning to have a successful low buy year. First thing, I noticed that a year is way too long, so I'm actually going to be breaking it down into monthly goals instead. Second, I am keeping myself accountable by doing a monthly update on my personal channel, Sophie.malamalife, sharing with you and just being transparent about the whole journey. Third, I'm removing all temptations that will lead me to my old habits again. So I need to do another digital declutter, unfollowing certain influencers that tempt me to shop, to unsubscribe from emails, removing my credit card information from my browser, and even blocking some websites that I tend to go on. Number 4, filling my time with other things. And like I mentioned, I actually have a lot of different goals this year, so that's exactly what I'm going to be putting my attention towards. Last but not least, I'm going to be revisiting my why often. So I'm actually going to write down why I'm doing this challenge and what it means to me and how important it is for me to follow through this year. I think having a clear purpose for doing any challenge is going to guide us through the tough times, and it's going to make the whole journey much more fulfilling. I just want to acknowledge that calling this low buy a challenge is a huge privilege in itself, and that this is a reality for most people. But we also live in a culture where excessive consumerism is the norm. So I think it's important to balance that out by having these challenges where we pause and look at our spending and see how we can be more mindful moving forward. I hope that you guys will join me in doing this challenge this year. Let me know in the comments what are some things that you are eliminating from your budget. I would love to know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching and following along on my journey. I hope you know how much I appreciate it. And until next Tuesday, guys, take care and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.